Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Daivim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Hiruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishriki. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam today, Canto 2, Chapter 9. Answers by citing the Lord's version. This chapter contains a Catuh Sloki Bhagavatam, the 4 original verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam, spoken by the Lord to Brahma. Tene Brahma Hridayadi Kavaye Mukhyanti Yat Surayah. In the first shloka of the Bhagavatam, there is reference to this, that the Lord spoke the truth about him from the heart of Brahma. That is elaborated further in the Bhagavatam here by Shukadeva Goswami. The context is that Parikshit Maharaj is asking questions of Shukadeva Goswami, and in the earlier chapters Parikshit Maharaj questions very deeply. After hearing Shukadeva Goswami, he questions and asks a series of questions on what he has already spoken. And those questions cover almost everything to do with the Srimad Bhagavatam. The questions, of course, the foundational question asked by Parikshit Maharaj was, what should I do? I'm going to pass away. I have been cursed. And Shukadeva Goswami already gave the answer for that. He said, you must completely chant the names of the Lord, you should be involved in glorifying the Lord, and you should absorb yourself. That answer already given instantly. And Parikshit has further questions. Those further questions are entitled in a whole chapter, that questions by Parikshit Maharaj. And in answer to that, Shukadeva Goswami is answering that and citing the conversation between Narada and Brahma as a fitting answer to many of the questions he's asked, especially in answer to achieving perfection by performing devotional service to the Lord, which is what Brahma did. So Brahma has the distinction of being somebody very, very great. He's the first living entity in the universe, first created being in the universe. He is the first spiritual master mentioned here, Paramaguru, Adi Paramaguru, the first spiritual master. He is the most intelligent person in the universe. Most intelligent person in the universe. And in this way, he is the father of all living entities in one sense. So, he is speaking to Narada about how things happened for him just when he found himself to exist. So, he is speaking to Narada, and that speaking to Narada also comes from questions of Narada to Brahma. So it's a conversation between a conversation inside another conversation. You have Parikshit Maharaj asking Shukadeva Goswami, Shukadeva Goswami narrating what happened between Narada and Brahma. And in that conversation, Narada is asking Brahma similar questions about the Lord, his energies and everything. But he's observing that his father is so great that he is doing this secondary creation, Visarga. And he is saying that it looks like you are the creator. That you are the creator. You are the Supreme. And Brahma, being the most intelligent person and the most knowledgeable, he corrects his son Narada immediately and says, no, it looks like that. But it's not so. I'll tell you. And he relates what happened right from the beginning and how he is invested with his energy to create. So previous to that, what happened? This is very interesting history and also a very interesting conversation between Narada and Brahma. Because both are highly intelligent, very, very advanced beings and who know many, many things, everything. So they are revealing their own understanding of the truth and they are discussing the truth. That's why it's so interesting. If only people didn't have this religious stigma and connotation attached to these great works like Srimad Bhagavatam, and if only they were able to be studied as such in terms of their philosophical content, in terms of their reality-based explanations, how wonderful the whole world will benefit. And this is the exact exercise that Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has done. He has presented it so brilliantly meant for this world in this day and age, this philosophical discussion. Because what is happening here is, first is Narada mistaking Brahma, his father, to be the creator, the source of everything. And then Brahma is telling him, no, you have to know something which you don't know. I'm going to tell you that. So Narada is obviously very inquisitive and very interested. And then Brahma is relating creation. That one fine moment, Brahma finds himself existing on top of the lotus, which is actually springing from the navel of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. And he's wondering, what is this? And he looks around and surveys everything. I am existing. I am here on this beautiful lotus. And there is nobody, not a single soul, only he on the lotus of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. In other words, only he and God. And he does not know that also, that God is there, that the Supreme Personality is there. So he is wondering what's going on. Talk of loneliness nowadays. People are talking a lot about loneliness, especially during the pandemic and lockdown. This is only Brahma finding himself existing. Finding himself existing and looking around. When he's very inquisitively looking around and wondering, what is this? At that time there is a sound, tapa, coming to him. And he understands, inspired by that sound, it means I should perform penance, tapasya. He gets inspired by that and he just completely, deeply performs a penance, deep meditation with a focus. You may wonder, what will he meditate on? There's nothing to meditate. You may wonder, there's nothing to do, he's the only person around there. What should he do? But Tene Brahma Hridayadi Kavaye, the Lord from within the heart of Brahma is inspiring him to perform tapasya. You will get to the truth. You will understand what is everything. So he performs the tapasya. For 1000 celestial years of the demigods, which is a very long period in terms of human beings, he performs tapasya. You can just see the scale. For a very long time he performed tapasya and the Lord becomes pleased with him. Tapasya is prerequisite for understanding the truth or getting the Lord's darshan or coming close to understanding. There is no doubt about it. We can understand from here. The Lord could have revealed himself. Oh Brahma, I only created you. You're on top of my lotus. By the way, you should start creation and this is the way to do creation. It didn't happen like that. The Lord first pre-qualified him for being able to see me, for being able to understand me, the ultimate absolute truth. Pre-qualified him with the Pratanta and Brahma followed it. So he understood this to be some divine, wonderful instruction. So he meditated on that and did nice tapasya. And at the end of it, the Lord became very pleased with the tapasya of Brahma, which means that Brahma had a choice to perform the tapasya or not. He had a choice. But Brahma actually took it up saying this is because he was inspired by the Lord within the heart. So he performed the tapasya and the Lord became pleased. He is following my order. And he gave him darshan of Vaikuntha. Immediately he was in Vaikuntha. Boom. And Vaikuntha was so amazing. He saw in Vaikuntha the opulence of Vaikuntha, the beauty of Vaikuntha. And he saw there beautiful ladies in airplanes. He saw Lakshmis. He saw everything of opulence. Vaikuntha darshan he got. Then he saw also the Lord with all his associates. And he saw the beautiful form of the Lord. Sankha Chakra Gada Padma, beautiful complexion like a fresh raining cloud and like lightning striking. He had these yellow garments, kiridam, and is looking extremely beautiful. So Brahma got darshan of the Lord in Vaikuntha. Somebody may wonder why only did not give darshan? Why Vaikuntha also? There is a point to all these things. He gave Vaikuntha darshan and he saw the Lord. When he saw the Lord, he became so pleased. And the Lord became very pleased seeing Brahma. And it's mentioned he shook the hands of Brahma. Gave a handshake. Karasparshan. Touched the hand and Prabhupada translated as handshake. Physically touch the Lord. I am real. See? You got a touch. This is not illusion. This is not a movie you're seeing. This is not some hallucination, speculation. So he shook his hands. And then Brahma had this experience. Amazing experience of the Lord and the spiritual realm and the reality of spiritual realm. And then he glorifies the Lord. And he asks of the Lord, how wonderful is your form? I like to know about this beautiful form of yours and your amazing energies. How do they work? And these things happen because now he is realized in the truth because he has seen the Lord. All knowledge automatically manifests in him. But in spite of that, he is wanting to know how these things operate. How do you operate? What is this beautiful form you have got? And he asks these questions, how these energies operate and how do you utilize these energies? And I am supposed to do the seva for you in creation. How will I be able to do that without falling into pride? Without, any such this thing? Because the Lord said that whatever benediction you want, you ask of me, I am pleased with you. So this is what he asked. I should be able to do my seva without any impediment, without pride coming into me. This is the first thing that Brahma is telling the Lord. I have to do my seva, visarga. Please bless me that I'll be able to do it completely 100% as a service to you without a tinge of pride coming into it. This is an answer to the question of Narada, saying that I think you are the creator. So when we perform devotional service to the Lord, we should not immediately think that I am a greatly fortunate person, I got to perform devotional service, others don't have it, you don't have it, he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it. Ha, I am great. This is pride. This is the pride that Brahma is talking about. Because there's no other living entities there. Comparatively to somebody else, he did not have pride. He's talking only about his own pride. There's only two, myself and the Lord. So if at all I have pride, it must be to do with the Lord. I am greater than you. With the Lord. That's the only other option. So he is talking about, I should not have pride. Why is he saying this? There's nobody else around who will recognize his pride. So it is to do with the Lord. That is why Krishna is pleased with him. And he asks him what boon you want, and he says, I should not be overcome by pride. Very important for us to know that when we do devotional service, feeling I should not be overcome by pride, you will automatically connect with Krishna. And your devotional service will be Krishna conscious devotional service. If you do not ask preliminary that I should be empowered to do this, I should remain a proper Vaishnava without committing offenses, without pride, lust, greed, anger overcoming me. When you ask like this, you are willfully connecting with the Lord, which means that I must do this service in Krishna consciousness. I must not do Krishna unconscious service. Isn't it? So, he is asking. And then, because he asked these questions, about you, about your form, about your energies, how they work, how you utilize them, and how I should be doing my service. These are questions Brahma asks. These are very high-class questions. So then immediately the Lord says, Jnanam paramaguhyam me tadvigyana samanvitam sarahasyam. He says immediately that knowledge about me is very confidential. It's mysterious. Paramaguhyam tadvigyana samanvitam. You must understand this. It will come to realization of it only if you perform devotional service. Devotional service means devoted to Krishna service. Work which we perform in an absorbed way for the sake of the Lord. That is devotional service. Which means that Lord should be factoring in that very much. I should never think that I am doing it by my ability. I am, capable, and here it is, my Lord, I have done it out of my capability, take it, it's for you, it's service for you. This is also not the right mode. Anyway, I did it for you with my ability. Shabdake Paurusham Drishu. Ability in man should be used for you. I am using it and doing it. That is definitely one way of doing, like in Varnashrama. Sve sve karmanya biratah samsiddhim labate naraha. You can achieve perfection in your work by doing the work for the Lord, offering it to the Lord. Yajñartat karmano anyatra. But actually this is something more. I am doing it right from the beginning for the sake of the Lord only. And the Lord only is giving me the ability to do it. This is the initial understanding itself. And however the Lord wants me to do it, I like to do it that way. In other words, I am offering myself to the Lord to do the service. You may use me how I want. So you have gradations of mental makeup. But the best of it is Nimittamatram Bhavasavya Sacha. Surrender to me and simply be my instrument. I will use you the way I want. Whether you like it or not, whether you have your own plans or not, whether these things don't work according to your plan or not, you must have full faith that I have a plan And are you willing to be an instrument to execute it? This is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's prayer. You will see. So we do devotional service initially thinking that I am giving this donation to the Lord. I earned this money. It is mine and I place it there for the Lord. Sometimes we expect also we'll get some encouragement and some recognition also that I did this seva. All this is perfectly all right. It's perfectly fine. But from there, climbing to the attitude that Brahma has is very important to know. Prabhupada's deep internal prayer in the Jaladuta reflects, you just accept me as your instrument. So Krishna is saying, that's why knowledge about me is not easy. It is understood only in conjunction with devotional service. And this is what is the meaning of that. And he says this, and he starts describing the first of the Catuh Sloki. First you must understand, what is the first thing? Aham eva samevagre na anyat yat asat asat param paschat aham yad etacha jo avashishyeta so asmiham. Translation: Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself. Nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. First shloka. In other words, Krishna is the only reality. Jagannath Baladev Subhadramai ki. There is only one supreme reality, the supreme personality of Godhead. The supreme personality of Godhead is the only reality. Aham evasam eva agre. Agre means before, in front of you. I am the only one existed before this creation, before creating you also. I am. And the end also, I will be the only one remaining. This is very amazing definition of reality. If you can understand this, everything else flows from that. Only Krishna exists. Existence means only the Supreme Lord exists. That is the reality. Every other existence is a dependent existence. It's dependent on Krishna, who is the absolute truth, and his existence. Aham evasam evagre. I am the only existence. I am only reality. Now, our puny false ego may not accept this. Now, how do I understand this? Why will I accept this? How do I know this? Whether you know it or not, whether you accept it or not, it is the truth. Because it is spoken by the Lord to Brahma. Aham evasam evagre na anyat yat sadasat param. Param means beyond. There is no truth beyond this. I am the absolute truth. Everything ends in me. Sarvakarana karanam. I am the supreme cause of all causes. Everything ends in me. This is the foundational theology, foundational philosophy, foundational understanding of reality, which Krishna is saying. So we're going to read a little further into the purport, which is very long. We should note very carefully that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is addressing Lord Brahma and specifying with great emphasis, himself pointing out that it is he, the personality of Godhead, who existed before the creation. It is he only who maintains the creation, and it is he only who remains after the annihilation of the creation. Brahma is also a creation of the Supreme Lord. The impersonalist puts forth the theory of oneness in the sense that Brahma, also being the same principle of I, because he is an emanation from the I, the absolute truth, is identical with the Lord, the principle of I, and that there is thus nothing more than the principle of I, as explained in this verse. Accepting the argument of the impersonalists, it is to be admitted that the Lord is the creator I, and the Brahma is the created I. Therefore, there is a difference between the two I's, namely the predominator I and the predominated I. Therefore, there are still two I's, even accepting the argument of the impersonalists. But we must note carefully that these two I's are accepted in Vedic literature, Kathopanishad, in the sense of quality. Kathopanishad says, Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman. The creator I and the created I are both accepted in the Vedas as qualitatively one, because both of them are nityas and chetanas. But the singular I is the creator I, and the created I's are the plural number because there are many I's like Brahma and those generated by Brahma. It is the simple truth. The Father creates or begets a Son, and the Son also creates many other sons, and all of them may be one as human beings. But at the same time, from the Father, the Son and the grandsons are all different. The Son cannot take the place of the Father, nor can the grandsons. Simultaneously, the Father, the Son and the grandson are one and different also. As human beings, they are one, but as relativities, they are different. Therefore, the relativities of the Creator and the created, or the predominator and the predominated, have been differentiated in the Vedas by saying that the predominator I is the feeder of the predominated I's, and thus is a vast difference between the two principles of I's. In another feature of this verse, no one can deny the personalities of both the Lord and Brahma. Therefore, in the ultimate issue, both the predominator and the predominated are persons. This conclusion refutes the conclusion of the impersonalists that in the ultimate issue, everything is impersonal. This impersonal feature stressed by the less intelligent impersonalist school is refuted by pointing out that the predominator I is the absolute truth and that he is a person. So, Prabhupada is analyzing, it is I only, aham evasam evagre, I only exist, is analyzed, that I only created you, is what Krishna is telling Brahma. You came from me and everything came from me. I only exist. So Brahma, as the created I, is understanding this is the supreme I and I am the created I. I cannot be him. He has been giving that understanding first by Krishna. You are you, I am I. You never become me. In fact, I am the only reality. You are a dependent reality. You are a dependent I. Infinitesimal. So this is the first thing we must understand in relation to the Supreme Absolute Truth, who am I? Okay, there is Supreme Absolute Truth, the personality of God. In relation to Him, who am I? That is your real identity. Jivera Surupa Hoy Krishnera Nitya Dasa. If you don't understand the Lord and understand only yourself, then you'll come to this impersonal conclusion. You'll come to an impersonal conclusion. So, the logic and argument here is there are already two people there. There is one is God and one Brahma. And Brahma is being told, you were just born out of me. You see, that's why you are called Swayambhu. You appeared out of my own engineering and plan. But now only two of us exist, you and me. And you must understand you are the dependent I. You will not exist if not for me. You will not exist if not for me. So I am the foundational existence. So this is the crux of the matter, that afterwards there is creation coming from the Supreme, and all of them wind into Him, and then they come out again, and they wind back into Him. They come out again, they wind back into Him. This is explained. And why should I believe in it? Because it is the supreme absolute truth, revealing the truth. How do I know this? It's a discussion here mentioned in the Bhagavatam. What is the Bhagavatam? It is the essence of all the scripture. What is the scripture? The Vedas. The word Veda means knowledge, and the Vedas are direct utterance of the Lord. Whatever he is telling here, the details, is spoken by him, and it is documented by Vyasa. This is the premise. This is the starting point. This is the foundation. Now you can debate that, and you can argue on that. But the other side is, okay, for the time being I will accept this. I'll return to this later if I have. But unless you accept this, you cannot proceed further. Therefore, I like to accept this and proceed further. Which means that anyway I don't understand it fully. So let me, okay, go ahead. Now, at least that way we can accept, for argument's sake. But if right in the beginning itself, oh, you and me are the only persons. Am I you? Are you me? Could be the natural feeling inside everybody. If only two people are in the entire universe, each one of them is going to try to actually, there's an old Chinese conversation I heard when I joined the movement actually. You know, everybody in this world is competing against the other. It seems China was growing like nothing those days. And Chinese economy was moving up. And the Chinese are communist people. And lots of Chinese people were taking up business and excelling here and there, and climbing like nothing. Two guys, good friends, partners, made huge success and got a lot of money. And they owned huge corporations. Very highly successful. So both of them were celebrating their success. Once at the peak, top 200th floor of a massive complex that they had constructed and inaugurated. So that day they went right up to the top. Full glass around, a rotating restaurant, revolving restaurant. And they alone were sitting there and eating and drinking. And while they were looking at the whole sky and the entire China being visible from there, extending like nothing. So each one of them was feeling very happy and looking at each other and enjoying the success. And they said, you know, we are the most successful people in the whole of China. Dude, can you believe it? You know what's the share of our properties and what's the share of... And the other one said, yes, amazing, we made it. We are on the top. We own this, we own that, we own this. Look at the stretch of the things that we own, we can see from here. There's nobody as great as ours. Both of them kept talking about both of themselves. Then after some time the conversation said, you know, we own all these things, right? But out of both of us, I am the one who did this. I am the one who is actually great because of this. Then the other fellow said, how can you say that? Because I am the one who did this, and I gave that idea, and that's how it happened like this. And then both of them were fighting. Because after glorifying themselves, the natural thing will be, out of both of us, who is bigger, who is greater. It's a natural thing that comes. And then that's all. After that, it's history. Because they'll destroy each other or try to destroy one another and come on the top. And then that works like that. Because of a false sense of superiority. Because it is a relative superiority. It will never be paka. It will end up in fight and arguments and destruction and war and everything else. That's the nature of this world. But there is nobody disputing the supremacy of the Lord. That is his position. Even if you don't agree with it, you will see that it is not the truth what you say. Because this is the truth. Ahameva sameva agre nanyat sat asat param, which is telling, whether you agree with it or not, that is the truth. Unfortunately, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead for you. So the first danger here is impersonalism. Claiming that I am as good as the Lord. That is being defeated by Prabhupada first. This is the original disease which Brahma did not want to have. And he said, how will I curb my pride first? And pride means only you and me, and I'll become proud and I'll try to do something. There is no chance of competing, Krishna is telling that. First he is telling, there's no need to feel pride because there is no chance for you. This is the interesting thing. There's no chance because you actually have come into being on my basis. So I can withdraw you anytime. That you must understand first. You can be withdrawn anytime and I will continue to exist. I am the only reality. This is the most important thing to understand for everybody. Are you willing to accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the only reality? Only existence. Everything else comes from Him. This is the definition. Yato va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti tad vishamti, like that, janmadhyasya yatah, from whom everything comes. These are all highly philosophical statements. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya janmadhyasya yatah anvayad yatratas charteshva vijñaswarat tene brahma hridayada adikave mukyanti. We can chant the sloka. But what does it mean when it is said that janmadhyasya yatah, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, then janmadhyasya yatah? That is being explained here. First sloka of the Bhagavatam, first two lines, Krishna is also saying that here. Ahameva sameva agre na anyat. There is no other alternative existence. I only exist. This is the first thing he is telling Brahma. And Brahma is very mature spiritually. And Krishna has already tried him out through his penance. And he's become fit for accepting this service and this understanding. So, no question of you becoming me. First of all, you must understand that. You are similar to me. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam. You are also a conscious living individual personality. And that creation is also from me. Vibhina amsha. You are. So this is theology. What is the Gaudiya Vaishnava theology? We must understand theology. We must understand how does it, the philosophy, state, prove existence and all that. So that's why this Catuh Sloki is very deep. If you can understand this Catuh Sloki, you can understand Bhagavatam. 4 verses only. 4 verses only. So Prabhupada argues, because many impersonalists have interpreted this Bhagavatam Shoka in terms of I, being the same as God, I. Very dangerous. Exactly what Krishna doesn't want Brahma to do, and what Brahma does not want to do, and asking how to be safe from this, is being done by people in this world in explaining this. Very easily they do. First thing to do is to think I am God. Because that is why you came to this world. It's not something very special. It's not a great philosophy to say that he and we are same. It's a very common Hindu philosophy. Why it's so common? Because it's the first stupid thing that everybody does. To equate yourself with God to try to become God, to try to become famous, to try to become the soul, everything, and enjoy that position. The desire to enjoy the position of God is innate in the soul. That we must recognize. That we must recognize. And that is artificial to the soul because it is not reality. It's not real. What is real? Jivere Surup Hoi Krishnera Nityadas. That Brahma will enact. That is why he is very great, Brahma. He is great because he has come to the right conclusion. Don't think that Krishna pushed him. Arey, nobody else is there here. What else will he conclude? He has to conclude that only. Only Krishna is there. It's very easy for Brahma to surrender because there was nobody else. There was nobody else. There were not 33 crores of demigods available. That there was a choice for Brahma. There was no choice for Brahma. It's either him or the Lord. There's only very, when you go to a mall, you find it very difficult to, so many different brands, so many different types of, variations of this, that, this. Oh, this is very good. This I can put on my table. But this doesn't stand on the table, it stands on the wall. It's better for me. Finally, you become so tired. Choices. The more number of choices, the more difficult it becomes to locate what you need. But Brahma did not have any choice. It's only two, either me or the Lord. And instantly he knew, it's not me. But there is a good chance of thinking it is me. And there's a good chance I will do it, I'm afraid. So he is asking of the Lord, how to do my seva without thinking, I am you. Curb myself of pride. And the Lord is explaining, you are equal to me in terms of quality. You are also a spiritual personality. But you are infinitesimal. I am infinite, everything. You are a dependent personality. See, is very nicely explained. And this is what you must understand first. Because this knowledge about me is very difficult to get. So, in this way, first this impersonal idea. Why do we call it impersonal? Because that is why Brahma is asking the question about the form of the Lord. It's so important, this personal form of the Lord, because the default conclusion of the conditioned soul is impersonalism. Is how to become God. And so float a theology of impersonalism so that you can become God by merging into Him. All this has got a whole psychology inside. It's very smoothly executed outside, but it's got a deep internal aberration that is being sorted out here. So, reading again, Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead. And after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. So everything is you only, so I am also you only. Simple conclusion is it. So I am also you only, but I can think, feel, will on my own, and I am an individual. So therefore, aham eva sameva agre must be me only. It's very, very subtle and very easy to conclude that. Anyway, only God exists, and I am existing, I can this thing. And therefore I must be God. This is a similarity conclusion, which is thoroughly erroneous. Very simple. Everything is God, no? Right. And I am existing, conscious, and I can feel my existence. I must be it. I must be it. No. You are part and parcel of that absolute truth. You have an individual existence that can never be destroyed. But you, although of the same quality, are never the same in quantity, in size. That is explained. So Brahma, the greatest of all living entities, is being told very nicely, technically. So there is lots of quotes that Prabhupada utilizes here from the Bhagavatam and from many other places. And he gives various different types of examples to establish, quoting all the different acharyas, how we should understand the unique position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. God means what? Only this is God. Nobody else is God. All the demigods are not gods. All the devatas are not God, actually. God means only one. And he is speaking to Brahma. Ahameva sameva gre. This is our first understanding. We should accept this understanding. And Krishna is giving this understanding as saying it's very difficult and it's very secretive and confidential to understand this. Because you very easily get envious in the material world, under material concept. If you are explained about God, you will immediately become envious if you are not purified. So Krishna himself is purifying Brahma first and then explaining this to him. If you are not purified, if you are not gone through tapasya for understanding the truth, it will be difficult to accept the truth. It's difficult to accept the truth. So tapasya, austerity, is a prerequisite for acceptance and understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth. This is very important for us to know. This is how the history is with Brahma. Right? So understanding who is God. In Bhagavatam, God is not described only as God. God is described as the absolute truth, the samam bonam, the origin, sarvakarana karanam, janmadhyasya yatah, like that, in a very deep and broader way. Both width and depth is there in this understanding. It's easy for us to conclude I am God and walk away, because we don't have the patience and we don't want to take the austerity of understanding why he is God, why he is the Supreme Absolute Truth, and who am I in relation to that truth. This is the meaning of God consciousness, right? So I'll read further before we... the personality of God is never formless. In the material world, he may not be visible in his personal form to the less intelligent class of men. And therefore, he may sometimes be called formless, but actually, he is always in his eternal form in his Vaikuntha planets, as well as in other planets of the universes as different incarnations. The example of the sun is very appropriate in this connection. The sun is the night. The sun in the night may not be visible to the eyes of men in darkness, but the sun is visible wherever it has risen. That the sun is not visible to the eyes of the inhabitants of a particular part of the earth does not mean that the sun has no form. So in this way, form, personalism, impersonalism, relative truth, absolute truth, and the supreme standalone independent existence of the Supreme Truth Krishna is explained in this verse. And you can at least accept it as a premise, which I will visit later after understanding more. So this is the first of the shlokas. Tomorrow we can try to do the other two. Three. So the Catuh Sloki Bhagavatam is a capsule, nutshell explanation of the truth. Actually, it's very easy to understand the truth. It's not very big. But this Catuh Sloki Bhagavatam is what has expanded itself because of the need for people to understand it in different ways and come to this understanding. The Lord spoke 4 verses. Brahma spoke these 4 verses to Narada. Narada spoke 133 verses to Vyasa. Vyasa compiled 18,000 verses. In this way it expanded. Vyasa had to do marketing for people in Kali Yuga. So when you do marketing, you have to tell many other things along with the truth to get you to the truth. So he did so much of it, he became disappointed. But because Narada has heard this from Brahma, he knows very well what Vyasa is writing and why he is disappointed. In the process of expansion, he has got off a little bit like that. So he came to him and set it right. And said, this is what you have done, simply leading people off completely into this. You have to focus on the main aim of the Vedas. And he said, oh yeah, thank you. And he composed the Bhagavatam. So the Bhagavatam is that focused truth of the 4 shlokas. Throughout is a description of these 4 shlokas only. In every other shloka you will see these things reflected. These 4 shlokas will be further analyzed next as the 10 subject matters as Bhagavatam. So these 4 shlokas you can analyze in Vedic scriptures by Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana, but we shall try to do tomorrow. In first shloka is describing about Sambandha. Who am I? What's your relationship to me? That's understood. That's what's being understood. And then, so therefore, what should you do to realize the truth? What is the final fruit of that endeavor? Prayojana. These things are what's described in the entire Vedic literature, in the Bhagavatam and everywhere. Nicely structured. So tomorrow we'll try to understand that. Om Tat Sat. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.